Welcome to Spakemit's video. We're going to do an overview on patching. To start off with, we'll go over how to patch endpoints, then we'll take a look at our patch history, and then lastly, our compliance page. In Bacon, there's two ways to patch. We can either start with an endpoint-centric view or a patch-centric view. I'll do the endpoint one first, and then we'll go on to the patch-centric. So here we'll go to Hardware, Endpoints, and then I'm filtering this table by online Windows devices to keep it simple. And so I'll select all of these. Then we'll go to Actions and Patch. Now we'll see what available patches these guys have. So I can click any combo of these. And then the endpoints option will be static since we already selected that to get to this menu. From there we can look at our execution time. And we'll see we have install immediately, scheduled time, schedule relentless mode, and run when connected. Now before we get into this, let's show you the patch centric view, and then we'll go on to all the scheduling since the instructions for both are exactly the same. So from the patch centric view side, we'll actually go to patching and available. And here we'll see all the patches that are available. Now clicking on any of these patches will bring up information from Windows Update. So I can see the name of the patch, categories, description, if it needs reboot, and then which endpoints need that patch. So for this side of things, we'll just select our patches. In this case, let's select some with a little bit more endpoints on there too. There we go. Then we can go to Actions and Install. Here we'll see the patches we chose. And some of these require reboot, as we can see in the right-hand column. Then below we can select the endpoints and the patches will be static. So here we'll select all. Now we can get to scheduling out the actual job. Install immediately is going to push it to all devices here. However, at best we're going to get an incomplete because some of these are offline. So when I push it out, these 3 will get the patch, but these 4 will bounce off because they're offline whenever the patch is pushed. What I recommend for patching instead is to use run when connected. This will allow you to push it out to everybody who's online, in this case 3 computers, and then for the remaining 4, it'll queue it in the system until they come back online. That way everybody gets the patch regardless of what time you were online when I pushed the job. Next we have schedule time. This allows you to select a time and date to push that patch on. So I can do like Friday at like 1800 or so. Like that. Or I can use relentless mode. This one allows you to push it out during a time frame in which you can patch and reboot until either you've run out of patches to install or you've exceeded your time frame. So here again I have a similar date selector where I can pick a start time and date and then an end time and date. And then Bacon will patch and reboot in this window until either it runs out of patches or again, like I said, you exceed that time frame. The reboot options are right below, so here we can reboot if a patch requires it. And remember, some of our patches did. In fact, most of them did. So it'll try to install these patches, then reboot, and then keep trying to install. And something very common with Windows patching is that you'll try to install all these patches and some will fail, but it's not super clear why. Then they're able to install after reboot. So this kind of solves that problem for you and gives you your time back. Next, we have force reboot after patches are installed. So even if they didn't need a reboot, it'll install as many as it can and then force a reboot at the very end. Then lastly, we have do not reboot endpoints, where it'll install as many as it can, but it will not reboot once it's done, even if the installations fail. So that can be appropriate for servers that can't be taken offline, or possibly if you want to push this out to endpoints that users are currently on, that way we're not interrupting their workflow, but we are getting the patches pushed out during our given time frame. Patch history is available in the patching menu under history. And here we can see all the patches that were installed on computers. This will show you the patches already installed, patches that were installed in the past, as well as patches that need to be installed. So if I look here and I look up this KB, I can see different computers that have this KB installed or possibly even available. I can tell by the patch status on the right hand side. If I click here, I can see available, oops, there we go, available, historical, installed. So that shows you which ones have a history of it being installed, but it's not reporting that anymore. ones that currently have it installed, and then ones that have it available to install. It can be super handy for trying to figure out who has what patches, especially if you're trying to figure out what to uninstall or looking for any kind of bugs that may be caused by patches. Lastly, the patching compliance view can be found in patching and compliance. This gives you a visual indicator as to how patched your environment is. So here I can see we have color-coded percentages, where I'd say probably anything above like 80% is pretty good. Anything below you probably want to take a look at, but we also have some context here, so we can see what patches are applicable versus installed, and more importantly, not installed. So here I can see that I have machine at 81% patching. However, it's missing 39 patches, so those could be pretty critical, so we'll want to take a look at that. Versus this guy down here is only missing 2 patches, and the one right above is also missing 2 patches. So we've covered the different ways that you can patch in Bacon, as well as different utilities we've added to help you get more visibility of your environment. Now let's take a look at what happens once you've patched and we get logs returned. So here you can see I pushed out a single patch to this server, and then in the logs I can see the name of the patch, and that installation was successful, and that a reboot's required. In this case I chose not to reboot this endpoint, so it's giving me that advice here. At the very end I can see one of 1 patches is installed. Thanks for joining us for this patching overview for Bacon 4.2. That's all we have for today, and I'll see you next time.